welcome to another video. And today I have the all new Classic 350 with me. And to be frank guys, I have spent around a week with this bike, cruising around the city, doing some highway work, and I've been really impressed with this bike. I have some great pointers about this bike. There are some pros and there are some cons. So we are going to know each and every detail about this bike in this video. So stay tuned, and if you have come up for the first time and watching this video, please do not forget to subscribe this channel because there are more content coming up for sure. And without wasting the time, let's start the video. Guys, first thing first, I'll just let you hear what's the exhaust note of this bike. So let's get upon this bike and see how it sounds. Isn't it sounding something familiar too? Well, you guessed it right. Engine has been derived from the Meteor and it sounds slightly different, but it sounds pretty familiar to the Meteor. It doesn't have the thump that you used to have in the previous Classic, but still it has its own thump. You still get the thump, but you miss that old Classic thump that you really want in this bike. So this bike feels a really new bike altogether. The fit and finish, the quality of the material that's been used here, everything feels very new guys. And overall the bike feels premium when you ride it, and overall the plastic quality, the metal quality, the fit and finish is really good. It's commendable. It's quite on par with the Meteor. And to be frank, there are very subtle differences between this Classic and the previous generation Classic. From the distance, if you watch this bike move around, then you will think that it is a Classic 350 for sure, without any doubt. But when you come near to this bike, then you will understand that there are some changes done to the bike, preserving the original structure of the bike. But it's a brand new bike altogether. Now coming onto the headlamp, it gets the same setup as of the previous generation, but this glass is not curved anymore. It's a flat glass. As you can see, it's a flat glass, so it gives a different perspective, and it also has this cap, so typical Classic. And coming on to the indicators, and the entire setup is bulbs guys. There are no LEDs or whatsoever. It also gets hazard. As you can see, hazard is there. You can see at the rear, hazard works really well. It can be really handy. Now coming on to the suspension, it gets a telescopic fork at front. Now this telescopic fork is a bigger, fatter fork. It's a 41mm fork, plus it also gets fork covers, which makes it look like an upside down fork, to be frank. But overall the front portion looks really beefy, and it gives you that Classic look that you will want to have in this bike. Now the entire structure of this bike is made up of metal. You hardly get any plastic components. So at front you get a 19-inch rim on which you get a 100 section C8 rubber. The tire quality is pretty good, the grip is pretty good, but I would say that it could have been much more better. Even in the highway, this do pretty good job. Now coming on to the brakes, it is a 300mm brake that you get at front with a bi-brake caliper. Now the engine is a 349cc air oil cooled engine that makes 20.2 PS of power at 6100 rpm and 27 Nm peak torque at 4000 rpm, which is quite less, and you get the torque pretty much instantly. Now mating with this is a 5-speed gearbox. I could really wish that it could have been a 6-speed gearbox altogether, but I really miss that 6th gear, to be frank. When I'm doing some cruising around 105, I really miss that 6th gear. So coming on to the clutch feel guys, the clutch is, the overall clutch feel is really awesome, but this is really heavy guys. The clutch is quite heavy. When you will maneuver in the traffic, you will feel the pain in your fingers. You can't hold this clutch for more than a minute or so. So that is there, you have to bear the pain. Otherwise you have to calibrate this clutch according to your comfort. Although the clutch is heavy, but the clutch action is really awesome. It's smooth, and the gear shifts are pretty well managed too. The gears are pretty good, but I believe the second gear is slightly taller than compared to the other gears, because I was getting false neutrals when I was cruising around city. So that is also a point to be noted. Now if I get on this bike, you will see that it's pretty comfortable. The seat height is 805 mm and my height is around 5'11", so I'll be pretty comfortable on this bike. The rider's triangle is pretty good. I'll sit upright. There is no stress on your arm. There is no problem with your seating posture. And this tank pad, guys, they actually do pretty well job. You can really grip the tank. As you can see, I can really grip it while doing some high speed cruising. And coming on to the foot peg position, guys, this I want to mention, because if I want to just move around the bike, as you can see, guys, I'll be hitting my legs here. So the foot peg position is slightly uncomfortable in this bike, and that's not really good, guys. So if you see, then like this, I'll be able to hit my leg. So personally, I'm not happy with the foot peg position. And also the engine, coming on to the heat and vibrations, the engine performs really smooth altogether from 0 rpm to up till around 6,000 7,000 rpm. More than that, if you just push it, still it goes, but you will feel that the engine is under stress. If you move just above 105 kilometers per hour, then you will feel that the engine is not allowing you to move more further, and you will feel the vibe peeping in at that particular position, and the bike will feel quite unstable. But if you're moving around somewhere between 80 to 90 or even 95-100, the bike feels very planted. The engine feels stress free and it likes to move. But as I told you, if Royal Enfield would have provided a 6th gear, it would be really an awesome deal with this bike, because it really misses a 6th gear, to be frank. Now coming on to the brakes, they do pretty good job. The brakes are pretty good. It gets dual channel ABS front and back. The rear one is a 270 mm disc. It's a bigger one compared to the previous generation, and it also has good bike. But the front bite is much more better than the rear. I've been mostly using the front brake as my primary brake. So what I would say that the rear has its own bite, but the rear one loop feels a bit spongier on the side. The front has a little bit, what do you say, that gradualness, but it does its work. I mean, you have ample amount of bite in it, but they just lack a little bit more bite. A bit more would have done some wonders on this bike. Biggest difference that this Classic has over the other Classic or the previous generation Classic 350 is the instrument cluster. There you will see the biggest upgrade. It has a digital analog instrument cluster with a white backlit color. It feels really good to have a fuel gauge after a decade, guys. So the fuel meter actually provides you pretty good information about how much fuel is left inside the tank, and the fuel tank capacity is 13 liters. To be frank, it is manageable. I would have wished it could be somewhere between 15 liters. That would be much more better. Out of 13 liters, 3 liters is your reserve, guys. And this color that you're seeing is of the Halcon series. So it has 4 variants. The first one is the reddish variant, in which you get single channel ABS. Second variant is the Halcon series, in which you have 3 colors, out of which this is Halcon green. Looks pretty good because of the texture that it has. So if you just put a light on it, you will see that this color has a shimmer in it. So that is pretty different and it feels really awesome. You also have signal series, and it also have that specific number series written on the tank. Now the top end variant is the chrome series, on which you will have a 3D emblem that you normally get in the Interceptor, but here you get, here also it's a 3D emblem although, but it's plainly written as Royal Enfield, but the chrome one has a bigger 3D badging on it. So guys, this particular bike has a lot of things to be customizable, and the best part is you also get alloy wheels with it if you wish, of course. And Royal Enfield's Make It Yours program is there for you. You can just customize this bike from whatever you want. The engine guard, wheels, mirrors. I guess these mirrors are not that great. If you just cross over 90 kmph, you will not be able to see anything from these mirrors if you just move over 90. So I would insist you to get the mirrors that you get in the touring set. You will also get a windscreen that is pretty tall, and you will also get some touring mirrors that are pretty much better than this, because this can't handle the high speed thing. And coming on to the price, guys, the price starts at 1,84,000 and it goes till 2,45,000 to 2,50,000, depends upon which showroom that you're getting. Showroom to showroom the price may difference for around 10,000. And if you want to customize this bike from scratch, to complete customization would cost you somewhere between 2,75,000 to 2,80,000 ish. And with that price point, you will be able to customize your bike fully. And overall, this bike is a very good bike, guys. There are positives and there are negatives, but coming on to the conclusion, I would say that this is one of the best bikes that you can get in this particular price point. At like this price point, you also have the CB350, the Highness, the Meteor is also there, the Javas are there, but it has its own charm. The Classic is always a classic, but this bike is an all new bike with old skin, to be frank. It looks like a classic, but it is a brand new bike from inside. If you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe, and you will get more of like this videos in the future. So let's meet in another one.